YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. We got updated power rankings heading into the last week of the regular season. I'm ready for playoffs. I cannot wait to see who's in, who's out. We will have our playoff content. Can't wait to rank the playoff teams, talk about how teams can win the Super Bowl, maybe why they wouldn't, they can't. Love doing those videos. So hopefully you join us for that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow us on Twitter. It's on your screen. There's also a link down below. Recent videos pinned in the comments as well. Some links there. So check it out. Yeah, pretty important to follow that Twitter. We'll have some polls in there. You guys will vote for MVP, Rookie of the Year, and that will be included in the awards video at the end of the year. You guys will vote for picks for playoffs as well. All kinds of stuff. Cannot wait. So to the power rankings. Yeah, just real quick on the bottom part, since it's pretty much the same. The Seahawks did get some offense going. They got some win. They got a good win. There's no real room to move them up here, but it did good. Was good to see them get offense going, get Penny going. 51 points. Washington on a little bit of a cold streak, so they moved down one spot to 25. Now we can go one by one. The Bears are heating up a little bit. Nagy's saving his job. Just kidding. He's done. He's done for. Not this time, but for him saving his job. But they're playing better ball right now, both sides of the ball. You know, Robert Quinn got that sack record for the Bears franchise record, so he's had an incredible year. They'll play the Vikings this week. Not too much on the line in that game. Let's see if they can continue winning though. Falcons stay put at 23. Tough loss to the Bills. I thought they played pretty well on defense, creating some turnovers, giving some different looks to Josh Allen, throwing him off a little bit. Pretty tough in the red zone. Just couldn't get much offense going, so they ended up being eliminated. But it didn't move them at all. Browns at 22. Yeah, a little disappointing season for them. Just no real room to move them down here with the other teams struggling. Broncos down one spot. Yeah, just didn't have a lot of their team there against the Chargers. So it was a tough one for them. Kind of felt like they could be a playoff team at one point. And that, same for like Washington, I guess Cleveland and Atlanta as well. So tough stretch for them. Vikings down 2 spots. I mean, yeah, they weren't at full strength. Didn't have Kirk Cousins on Sunday night, but a disaster. Not playing too well. Don't love their game plans for games. Their defense was disappointing this year, so they are eliminated. They're down 2 spots to number 20. 19, Steelers up 2 spots. Good win against the Browns on Monday Night Football. That was last night. Defensive performance was fantastic. Najee Harris's performance, fantastic. So they stay alive. They stay alive right now, and then they'll play number 18, the Ravens, who are down 2 spots. Ravens been so close. I was calling them, are they like the new Vikings? Are they joining the Vikings here, which is losing these heartbreakers to keep them out of the playoffs, these close ones. So it's been pretty tough for them, but they're actually still alive. They need a lot to happen. Did a recent scenarios video. I actually learned a bit while doing that, what needs to happen for the Ravens and the Steelers. They'll play each other. TJ Watt is chasing that sack record. He only needs 1.5 to get it. So that's something to watch here. Saints stay put at 17. Started a little slow against Panthers. Got it going later in that game. Defense, pretty good performance again for them, which is expected. Dolphins down 4 spots. They were on a roll, but they go play a solid team, the Titans, and they got rolled. So that wasn't, and then they're eliminated. It's kind of weird. A team goes on a 7-game win streak and they lose one, and then they're out. I guess that's what happens when you start the year pretty rough. But some promise there for the Dolphins moving forward. Just not the best outing against Tennessee Titans. Maybe the weather was a factor. Our Raiders are back in it. They're back in the conversation here. They're up 4 spots. It's good to see. Good to see them pick it up in crunch time. This is where they usually kind of fold a little bit. Huge game against the LA Chargers. Sunday Night Football in Las Vegas. Win and get in. In the scenarios video we did, there are some scenarios where they both can get in. Which was interesting, but it's very, very likely winning in for those two teams, losing out. So we'll be watching that one. Can the Raiders clutch up here? They clutched up against the Colts last week. Eagles up 1 spot. They continue to win. We'll see how they are against the tougher teams in the playoffs, but I like the way their defense is playing in the second half of the season. Defense has been playing very, very solid. I like the adjustments they make for the second half on offense. So that's pretty promising. They're not the best playoff team, but they're a little sneaky. They're a little sneaky. It's not the easiest game plan, so I'm curious to see what the Eagles can do. Chargers up 1 spot, 13. Again, they'll play 13 versus 15. Chargers, Raiders, Sunday Night Football in Las Vegas. That's the game of the week. It's a big one. There's quite a few games with playoff implications, but that's the big one there. So cannot wait for that. Excited for that one. 12, 49ers up one spot. Trey Lance comes in. They start a little slow. They're able to execute later in that game and pull away and stay alive. It's crazy. Yeah, the 49ers could lose to the Rams and be out. It's really the games to focus on are the 49ers and the Rams. The 49ers usually take care of business against the Rams. Who's going to play quarterback, though? Garoppolo, Trey Lance. How will the Rams adjust? I really think the Rams are kind of saving some looks on offense, some play styles, play types for the playoffs. But do they do it now? Is this their playoffs right now? They start now to hold that 2 seed, win the AFC West. So what are we going to get here for the 49ers, for who they got to play? And the Saints play the Falcons, which isn't a free one there. So those are kind of two games that are linked together. Looking forward to that. I will say this, the top 11, to me, in my opinion, separate themselves. The top 11 are the big boys for me for this season, regular season. This is kind of a first ever for my power rankings. This was a weird situation that I've never really been in. The Colts pretty much had to go to 11. I didn't feel like any of these teams belonged to stay. Cardinals were at 11. So I didn't think any of the top 11 teams should stay talking about the Cardinals, or drop to 11. None of them, but somebody had to. And it ended up being the Colts here, and we'll show the rest of the teams to kind of explain why. The Colts were pretty hot for the most part on the stretch of the season. I really like the way they were playing. It's a good football team. They can make a run in the playoffs for sure. Tough loss against the Raiders. They didn't have much going for them. They had that crazy tip ball to T.Y. Hilton for a touchdown. If it wasn't for that, they would have got beat up in this game, but they stuck in it, came back, but yeah, at the end of the day, they lost while a lot of these other teams in this range won, so they found themselves at 11. It was a weird situation. Patriots stayed put at 10, and I'm not, sometimes teams end up falling for winning in my power ranking just because I think, maybe the Colts are a better team overall, and you definitely can argue that. They just beat the Patriots a couple weeks ago. It's not about head-to-head, though, but the Patriots go out there, and they put up 50-plus points against the Jaguars. They dominate that game, so really impossible to move the Patriots down. The Cardinals go out and beat the Cowboys. A hot Cowboys. So, the Cardinals can't stay put at 11. If I move them to 10, what was I doing with the Patriots? It's a weird situation with this week's power rankings, but just know I really think the top 11 teams are in the same conversation here. Pretty damn tight. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys. They'll go up 2 spots. Much needed win for them. And they match up well away, and they match up well against teams that run man coverage. So, how will they? That's the question. How will they be in the playoffs? They may play the Cowboys in the first round. How will they be against some different teams, different style teams? So maybe they want to see the Cowboys. But that's exactly what the Cardinals needed there. They go up 2 spots to number 9. Number 8, the Bills. A little sloppy offensively. Kind of, though. Not in the passing game, I should say. They were pretty good in the running game between Singletary and Josh Allen. Played some pretty good defense. Not a lot of room to move them up because what the other teams did, but you definitely can't move them down. It's another situation where it was kind of the first timer for me when I've been doing these power ranks for a long time. Like, I didn't think any team belonged at 11, but the only team that made sense to kind of move there was the Colts. 7, the Cowboys down 4 spots, and they were hot before the last game. So they were playing some really good football, elite defense. It slipped up against the Cardinals. And they were beaten up on some weaker teams before that, but they're still impressive overall, dangerous team. Just a little inconsistent on offense. I think it's mainly the play calling, if I'm being honest. I think I talked about, a little bit of panic to the play calling, meaning like things aren't working early or they're getting outplayed early, so it's pass, do those types of things. And the run didn't work on the first drive, so it's abandon the run, Don't really love it. And they kind of were just firm on sticking to man coverage against Cardinals, which was not the ideal game plan. I wasn't a fan of the coaching in that Cardinals game, honestly. It's been great all year, so I'm not going to sit here, in my opinion, I'm not going to sit here and rip them in general completely just for that game. So tough one for them. They moved down 4 spots, but they were pretty hot before that, so we can't completely take them out of the top 8, top tier teams here, even though I think the top 11 top tier teams. Bengals up 3 spots. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and they just beat the Chiefs. They're dangerous. Offense is dangerous. Not too many teams could stop that offense between Joe Burrow and try to account for all those receivers. Defense is playing pretty well. And they gave up some points in that game. It's a different type of matchup for them against the Chiefs, though. But they clutched up in the end, we can say. Very impressed with the Bengals this year. Very, very, very impressed with them right now heading into the playoffs. Let's see if people talk about maybe the lack of experience. Is that going to hurt them for the playoffs? I'm not a big, this team's got experience, this guy does, these guys don't, so they're going to lose. The only time I really factor it in maybe is Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I mean, he has that GOAT experience, but I'm not really on that train. What it could be, maybe, does the offensive line, because I still think the offensive line is playing a lot better. I mean, guys like Jackson Carman stepping up, but does that maybe get exposed to playoffs? Question mark. Not saying it does or it doesn't, but that would be more of the argument, not that they're young, they don't have that. I guess I can understand that argument, but I'm not really big on that. Like the way the Bengals are playing. Number 5, the Chiefs down 3 spots. Still ahead of the Bengals here. They've had a really good year, really good second half of the year. Still have another win than them, over them, or more than them, I should say. And they're fresh off being extremely hot too, so I couldn't move them down too much here. But they are number 5. Bucks, they slipped up a little bit against the Jets. They still pull it off. They're still clutching crunch time, and they're missing Godwin. They were missing Antonio Brown after he left the game. But they clutch up and win the game at the end of the day. They end up going up 1 spot, mainly because the Cowboys and the Chiefs do fall down. But I move the Titans up to 3. They're kind of back on track and in that playoff mode here. Supposed to be a tight game, a big game against the Dolphins. 2 defensive teams. It's probably going to finish like 17-10 or something like that. But the Titans just dominate them. They absolutely dominate them. The Titans right now, I don't know if anybody are playing better defense than the Titans. I'd say right this second, the Bills are up there. And the Cowboys were before last game. You can definitely make the case for some of these teams. But to me, I feel like the Titans are playing the best on defense, playing the best in football right now. And their offense is actually getting going too, and they're getting ready to get some guys back. Derrick Henry, the big one there. So I'm impressed with the Titans there. They're up 4 spots to number 3. Rams up 2 spots. Yeah, they got some help. Some other teams losing. Rams are a little sloppy here and there. I mean, they threw 3 picks against the Vikings that could have blown that game away. They still control it. I like the way their defense played in the red zone that game and this last week. Yeah, not the best game against. It's mainly, it's kind of Stafford kind of just being a little inconsistent, being a little sloppy with the ball. Other than that, I do think the team's playing pretty well, and Stafford does have his great moments. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's their number 2 team. They're hot the second half of the year, getting it at the right time. They're playing good on both sides of the ball. They're a dangerous team. They're definitely a contending team. It's like, they're a little sloppy sometimes. So that's kind of sitting in the back of my mind there. But again, no reason to move the Packers down. They sit at 1. They clinched that 1 seed in the NFC. They're locked up there. The only team to do that in the NFL, because the AFC is actually still open, even though the Titans kind of control their destiny here. They beat the Texans. They control that 1 seed. They have the 1 seed. So, Packers remain at 1. They're going to get some guys back as well. Heading into the playoffs, we expect for sure. We would expect for sure a guy like Jair Alexander, Bakhtiari's got to be playing, but the questions will lie with a guy like Zadarius Smith, who's a big piece of that defense if he's healthy. So we'll see. They could be getting even better. I expect them to actually here. So can they get over that NFC Championship hump? They're gonna have to win a game before that, of course. I'm not saying they're getting there for free, but they've been hanging on to this 1 spot for some time here, and they're gonna keep it here with 1 more regular season game to go. But that wraps up the Week 18 power rankings. Playoff content next week. Cannot wait. I'm going to rank the playoff teams. I always do a video where I talk about how every single team can win the Super Bowl that's in the playoffs, how maybe what will stop them. Love doing those types of videos. I'll get my full playoff predictions. We'll get the other guys' picks as well. We're going to get your guys' picks, your guys' award picks through our Twitter. So really excited about all what we got coming up here. So make sure you follow our Twitter, link down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Very important, much appreciated. But that wraps this one up. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for the support. Goodbye.